Were there irregularities in the procurement of Dengvaxia? That's one question senators want answered as they hold a probe on the dengue vaccine controversy. President Rodrigo Duterte reveals he is axing an entire commission for alleged corruption. And reigning Miss Universe Demi Nell Peters makes history in the country. We'll tell you why later. Good afternoon, I'm Mai Rodriguez. Thanks for joining us. We begin with this developing story on the Dengvaxia controversy. At stake, the health of about a tenth of the 800,000 plus children who were vaccinated, 3.5 billion pesos of taxpayers' money, and the possible accountability of government officials, including former President Noynoy Aquino. Health officials are also confirming the case of a 12-year-old girl who suffered from severe dengue just a few months after being vaccinated. Joyce Ilas has this report.
9-year-old Reina was vaccinated with Dengvaxia in August this year. She says she never had dengue before.
After 1 week, naramdaman niya yung sakit ng ulo niya matindi, hindi siya makakita. Oo, naglalabo yung mata niya, namumutla siya. Masakit daw yung katawan niya, para daw siya nanlalata, yung ganun. Tapos yung mga tuhod niya, hindi siya makatayo, parang napapolio.
From August until now, Reina's grandmother Luisa says the child would complain of recurring fever, headache, joint pains, and nausea. Reina's blood pressure is oftentimes low and her lips would easily bleed. The problem, Luisa says, is they don't have money to have her checked. As a rag vendor, she earns only 100 pesos every day.
Ang lakas-lakas ng bata, napakatalino pa naman, tapos ganyan. Gagawin tayo parang hayop. Nai-injection tayo ng kahit ano na lang mapag-ano lang. Tama ba yan?
Sanofi Pasteur, the maker of Dengvaxia, earlier reported that the vaccine may eventually cause severe dengue on those who received the vaccine but have not had dengue yet. Health Secretary Francisco Duque confirms on Friday that there has been one confirmed case of a 12-year-old girl from Tarlac who suffered from severe dengue just 3 months after she got her third dose of Dengvaxia.
If you were to take the last date of vaccination, which is like 2-3 months ago, then it's really truly a cause for concern. Are we talking also about the possibility that the dengue vaccine might not be effective?
Duque says the government will demand Sanofi to refund the 3.5 billion pesos spent to buy Dengvaxia. The government will also ask Sanofi to set up an indemnification fund to cover the hospitalization and medical treatment of all children who might have severe dengue. Duque says a legal team is also looking at the possible accountabilities of Sanofi.
I've been told that the information, there's a possibility, a strong possibility that they might have not disclose an information with regard to findings of severe dengue reaction.
But for Luisa, what is important now is to ensure how her granddaughter can recover from her current health condition. Joyce Ilas, CNN Philippines.
Our chief correspondent Pia Ontiveros spoke with Senator J.V. Ejercito, chairperson of the Senate Health Committee, which will look into the Dengvaxia controversy. He says he will focus on two things: the procurement process and the health risks.
Well, because there are information that we have received that it was done, that it might have been done in haste, no? Because it was approved on December 22 of 2015, and the SARO was already issued on December 28, no, prior to the 2016 elections. No? So I think the crucial thing in this hearing, in this probe, will be the timelines, no? And that I would want to look into. I'm appealing to everybody, especially those who are not in authority, no? Let the experts, let the medical experts speak on the issue, because it is causing further panic. So, and the one good news also, Pia, is that on December 12, the day after, World Health Organization officials will be meeting with me at the Senate office to discuss on how to move forward, and probably they can already give feedback as to how the vaccine is being implemented in other countries, and whether there are adverse effects on those who were vaccinated.
Moving on to news overseas, wildfires continue to spread across Southern California, prompting more evacuations. Some residents of the Silmar neighborhood in Los Angeles tried to return to their homes Friday, but were barred by police. More than 5,000 firefighters are working to contain the towering walls of flames. Fire crews are still doing damage assessment. A CNN meteorologist says dry air and strong winds are forecast for the region today, which may fuel the fires. The blaze, which started Monday evening, is considered one of California's most destructive fires ever. So far, it has scorched around 64,000 hectares this week. Now, CNN affiliate Randy Page reports on how this small town in California is coping with the wildfires.
In downtown Ojai today, a free giveaway of lung-saving masks.
I really appreciate it. They're doing a good job. You know, right now, everybody needs a little help.
As thick gray smoke hangs in the air over the city.
Born and raised here, we work here. I mean, this community gives us so much, so why not give back to the community, you know?
The smoke is here because there is no wind to blow it away, and that means no wind to drive the fire into the homes and businesses here. From the air, you can see the Thomas fire continues to burn, but the smoke is traveling straight up, not driven by powerful winds. This is one of the areas of concern northwest of Ojai, as powerful wind last night punched a finger-shaped section of fire into the wilderness area south of Santa Barbara. They are also concerned about portions of Carpinteria and Fillmore if the winds were to pick up and shift. And today we are told the winds will be unpredictable. The city of Ojai is surrounded on three sides by fire, but so far, thanks to the lack of wind, more structures have not been claimed today. But just outside of Ojai, along Highway 33, skeletons of homes can be found on the barren landscape where the fire came through.
I think it proves that Ojai is a pretty durable little town because this has happened 3 times in the last 40 years, you know, where we've been completely surrounded by fire. And the downtown here is like 100 years old, so I guess we've got a nice little oasis, although we got to put up with the smoke when this happens.
Now on to lighter news. Miss Universe beauties are taking in the sights and sounds of the country. Some of them visited Camigin's White Island. We see here the queens from South Korea, India, Canada, Spain, Singapore, and the Netherlands enjoying a dose of vitamin C. Miss Universe Philippines Rachel Peters toured Bohol together with Miss Malaysia and Miss Russia. They went to the People's Mansion and the Tarsier Sanctuary in Corella Town. The others headed way up north to breathtaking Batanes. The tourism department says reigning Miss Universe Demily Nell Peters made history by being the first Miss Universe to visit the country's northernmost province. Later, we'll show you how Miss Universe beauties rocked the runway at a charity fashion show with some very special guests. And find out why President Duterte wants to fire an entire commission. These and more when Newsroom Weekend returns. Hello to our viewers on Facebook Live. Thank you for joining us today. Magandang tanghali po sa inyong lahat. Bago ko po kayo batiin, thank you first of all sa mga shoutouts nyo, sa mga pagbati nyo dito sa Facebook Live. First of all, yung next stories kailangan nyong abangan kasi meron kaming live report from Rex Remitio tungkol yan doon sa Dengvaxia controversy pa rin, ano? Doon sa dengue vaccine scare na nangyayari ngayon. May update siya from Quezon City. Again, may live report siya. Ngayon, may sinasabi yung isang former health undersecretary about this alleged collusion di umano with Sanofi Pasteur, yun yung manufacturer nitong Dengvaxia na naibigay previously last year, noong 2016, doon sa mga some 800,000 plus children dito sa bansa, ano? So, let's hear from Rex Remitio anong sinasabi nitong si former Undersecretary tungkol kay former DOH Secretary Janet Garin. Also coming up, yung statements recently ni President Duterte tungkol sa pag-a-abolish niya ng isang commission, a government agency na gusto daw niyang i-abolish na, no? At sabi nga niya, ipa-fire niya lahat yung mga tao nitong agency na ito. Abangan ninyo po ang marami pang storya. We have 20 more minutes to go in the show. Again, thank you for joining us here on Facebook Live. I think may 20 seconds pa ba ako to greet some of you. Let's say hi to our friends from around the world watching us. Si Yoli Asgar says, hello, Philippines, watching from Amman, Jordan. I love CNN Philippines. Thank you sa'yo. Si Marmar Ramoso watching from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. And si Benz Descaliar watching from Butuan City. And si Mel Mag says, hello. Advance Merry Christmas. Ay, maraming salamat. Merry Christmas then to all of you. Thank you for joining us. On CNN Philippines. Welcome back. A former health undersecretary says the department's former chief, Janet Garin, colluded with Sanofi Pasteur on the use of Dengvaxia. Our Rex Remitio joins us live for more. Rex, tell us, how did this supposed collusion take place?
Former Health Undersecretary Ted Herbosa says that he and former Health Secretary Enrique Ona were kept in the dark on the discussions on the implementation of the dengue vaccine in 2016. This contradicts what Garin said in an interview on Friday, that Herbosa, Ona, and other former health officials were knowledgeable of the issue. In fact, they were even against what Garin is planning since the vaccine was still on its experimental stage. He adds the vaccine was still on its phase 3 of development stage when it was injected on students in April 2016. In fact, Herbosa says it must still undergo a long process of development before it can be implemented on phase 4. He also says all of the health officials were surprised when Garin announced the plan to implement the vaccine on January 2016. Herbosa also argues it's unethical for any government official to meet with a supplier or distributor of a particular product when it was due by then or before its bidding process. This is in response to Garin's admission that she met with Sanofi Pasteur officials sometime in 2015. Herbosa suspects the deal was rushed for two things. First, the administration party might have used the funds for the 2016 presidential elections. And second, Sanofi wants to immediately sell its product since two other pharmaceutical giants in Japan and the United States are also developing the same vaccine and planning to sell it as well. Herbosa also believes that the vaccine was way overpriced and not cost-effective. That's why he believes that Garin must be criminally liable with this mess. Mine.
Rex, tell us more about Herbosa's claims that Garin is criminally liable for this mess.
Well, he says that Garin committed intentional negligence on this particular issue when she met with Sanofi Pasteur officials in 2015. And until now, we're still getting the side of Garin to further shed light on the issue. Mine.
Rex Remitio there reporting to us live from Quezon City. In other news, the defeat of multi-terrorists in Marawi raises the question of whether there's a need to extend martial law in Mindanao again. Military and police officials believe there is. Our George Cahiles tells us why.
The extension of martial law in Mindanao is necessary. This is the recommendation of both the police and the military ahead of the expiry of martial law in the southern Philippines by December 31. Interior Undersecretary Catalino Cuy says the PNP recommends the one-year extension due to continuing threats from terror groups.
We endorse the recommendation ng PNP for one-year extension ng martial law sa Mindanao, principally due to the existing, may continuing threats pa sa Mindanao from the terrorist groups. And at the same time, it will help, it will hasten the rehabilitation of Marawi City.
The military echoes Cuy's statement, saying that the remnants of ISIS-inspired Mauta group and other local terror groups continue to recruit members in Lanao del Sur and nearby provinces. The Bangsamoro Islamic Freedom Fighters still carry out violent activities in central Mindanao. The Abu Sayyaf group and sympathizers still exist in Basilan, Sulu and Tawi-Tawi provinces, and communist rebels have increased their attacks throughout Mindanao.
Also, increasing violence initiated by the left is something to watch out for and something that we have to prepare for and confront. That's part of the reason why martial law may be needed to cover other areas where potential terrorists are in hiding.
The recommendations of both the PNP and the AFP have been submitted to the President. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque says President Duterte is expected to ask Congress by December 15 whether to extend or to lift martial law. If the President decides to ask for an extension of military rule, Senate President Coco Pimentel says he will immediately tackle the matter with his colleagues. Senators Zubiri, Escudero, Villanueva, and Poe wish to hear a security briefing from authorities before deciding on a possible extension of martial law. Minority Senators Aquino, Drilon, Ontiveros, Pangilinan, and Trillanes are prepared to oppose any move to extend military rule beyond 2017. Party list Bayan Muna is concerned that extending martial law may lead to more alleged human rights violations in Mindanao. Earlier, House Speaker Pantaleon Alvarez told CNN Philippines he preferred martial law to stay in Mindanao until the end of the president's term in 2022. George Cahiles, CNN Philippines.
President Duterte is not through with communist rebels after his relationship with them turned sour. The president declared the New People's Army a terrorist organization and ordered its members' mass arrest. And now the left is pushing back. Our senior correspondent David Santos has more.
For those who are out temporarily, you just maybe zero in now because any day I will order for their mass arrest.
After unilaterally terminating the peace talks and declaring the communist movement as terrorists, the president is now after the rebels' peace consultants. But not too fast, cautions a lawyer of the National Democratic Front.
Arrests must be made through the judicial process, no? And it is through the courts that arrests can be made.
In a motion filed late November, the Justice Department is asking the courts to cancel the bail of the freed NDF consultants and bring them back to jail. State prosecutors are citing the president's order to call off the peace talks. A Manila court has given the lawyers of couple Benito and Wilma Tiamzon 5 days to respond. The Tiamzons are said to be the most ranking communist leaders prior to their arrest for murder in 2014. But with the negotiations turning shaky early this year, the Tiamzons have been keeping a low profile and rarely seen in public. The NDF says they need to be extra cautious.
Nalaman nila na may nakakasang arrest operations, even without the arrest orders.
It was the military that arrested the Tiamzons after years of painstaking covert operations. They could well do the same now.
Pero we have to understand na itong agreement na ito, may mga procedures that have to be followed. And we will have to follow yung procedures.
The NDF insists they have yet to receive a formal notice the government wants to terminate the talks. And it will take at least a month before this becomes executory.
It's a bilateral agreement. It is not to protect one side. It is to protect both sides.
For now, lawyers can't say if the consultants have gone into hiding or if they will still submit themselves to the jurisdiction of the courts. They say all legal options are still open. David Santos, CNN Philippines.
But yesterday, the president hinted at resuscitating the canceled peace talks with the rebels. Speaking at the 84th anniversary celebration of the Labor Department yesterday, the president cited the need for the NPA to stop collecting revolutionary taxes from businesses. He added the government can shoulder the expenses of the CPP during talks. Here's the president in his own words.
They have to agree to stop to impose revolutionary tax. We can subsidize the talks and even the billeting and all. Ako na ang maggastos para, but you have to stop.
The Duterte government is bent on stamping out corruption. In the same event yesterday, President Duterte said he will fire an entire commission next. It's unclear what commission that is, but he says he believes all its members should be fired for corruption.
Now on Monday, I will fire about one commission mismo. lahat sila ay wala pakialam kung nakisali lahat o dalawa, tatlo. You have to go out. Because I do not think that it will exist without your knowledge.
The president has fired other officials before, among them Dangerous Drugs Board Chairman Benjamin Reyes, Cabinet Undersecretary Maya Valdez, and Sugar Regulatory Administration Chief Ana Rosario Paner. The president also axed Interior Secretary Ismael Sueno due to corruption allegations involving the country's purchase of fire trucks from an Austrian firm. Coming up, our Olympian Mansour Del Rosario, the first Filipino and non-Korean to receive South Korea's Taekwondo Man of the Year award. And what happens when a rapper does the weather forecast? Well, Chance the Rapper shows us just that after the break. This is Newsroom Weekend on CNN Philippines. Stay tuned. Hello to our viewers on Facebook Live. Maraming salamat ulit sa papanood ninyo ngayon sa amin ngayong tanghali. Now may opportunity ako ngayon to greet some of you. I'll start with your messages. Marami nagko-comment doon sa top story natin. Still about the Dengvaxia controversy. Marami nagko-comment na, no? Sabi, good afternoon. Si Mario Medua Bonza is saying it's hard to be one of the parents whom one of the parents of those children who were vaccinated. Sabi niya, prayers is the only way I can share for them. Merry Christmas to you and all the CNN staff. Thank you for that comment, Mario Bonza. Also, I'd like to say hi to Nick Morton watching us from Australia. Si Leonor Baiting says good morning from Doha, Qatar. Si Alan de Guzman from KSA. Maricel Canlas says hi to all Kapampangans from Canada. And si Normelin Campos Yurong watching from Freeport, Bahamas. Si Alan de Guzman says, may comment ulit siya doon sa dengue vaccine controversy. No? Sabi niya, sampahan na si Noynoy at si Garin ng kaso. Well, yan ang topic ng Senate inquiry starting Monday, headed by the committee of Senator J.V. Ejercito. No? They will look into the Dengvaxia controversy at pinakatawag nga nila ang mga officials or former officials na involved dito sa dengue vaccine program na ito. Si Marina Watson is watching us from California. Hello to you. Si Tasio Baligwat says hi from Milan. Si Riclino Tayag is watching from Seattle, Washington. Si Arnel Pese says hello, watching from Iloilo. And si Abby Esteban Usman watching from Dubai. More stories up next. The newsroom's back with more stories. Heads up, motorists. The MMDA will start a dry run this Monday, December 11th, on the proposed carpool lane on EDSA. Private vehicles as well as motorcycles carrying at least 2 people will be the only ones allowed to use the carpool lane that's on the leftmost lane of EDSA. Now, this should encourage carpooling to reduce the number of vehicles on this problematic main road. Once the carpool lane is officially implemented, the MMDA says violators will be apprehended using the no-contact policy and will be fined 500 pesos. Rapper Chance shows he can do more than just win Grammy Awards and host Saturday Night Live. He joined weatherman Paul Conrad on the air and delivered his own version of the weather forecast. Watch this.
Hey, so we asked if you'd be willing to do the weather, and you've been more than agreeable.
More than happy.
It's really nice of you. So here's my advice. I've been doing this for 20 years. All you have to do is really just smile, be relatively sexy like I am, and then just read some numbers and you're good to go.
I'll try to do both.
All right, good luck. It's all yours, man. You're on.
All right. Well, as you see up here in Kenosha, it's 19 degrees.
Yeah, you're on it.
19 at Waukegan as well. Similar 19 over at O'Hare, 19, actually 20 now at the lakefront, 19 still at Midway. A lot of 19s going on.
Yeah.
Due to the Peruvian purchase, apparently Peru is in here too.
Nice, good form,
Peru in there.
Great form.
Also, just in case I have to take some, I got an invisibility cloak.
Look at that, he's gone. Now you see him, now you know.
If I have to check out books at the Hogwarts Library, could do that. St. Louis is also a part of Illinois, apparently.
Yeah.
We've got, today it'll be mostly cloudy, a high of 34, west winds 10 to 15 miles per hour. Also tonight, light snow, low 23. Every snowflake is different. They actually have like different DNA, like people.
And they all matter.
Yeah, each one is individual. Northwest winds 10 to 15 miles per hour. Saturday, we've got a little bit of morning snow, a high of 27, and Sunday it'll be partly sunny with a high of 34.
Awesome. That was pretty impressive, right?
Nice.
It's easier than it looks.
Yeah, it wasn't hard at all.
No.
He did a good job for a first try. Chance made his appearance to help with the TV station's annual toy drive. In sports, Barangay Ginebra is gearing up for the PBA Philippine Cup, while a Filipino Taekwondo legend makes history in South Korea. Our sports desk correspondent Paulo Del Rosario has more.
Yes, Mai, Filipino Taekwondo legend Monsur Del Rosario receives a historic honor in South Korea. The World Taekwondo Federation named Del Rosario as the 2017 Man of the Year. With the recognition, he becomes the first Filipino and non-Korean to receive the honor. The two-time SEA Games gold medalist and former Olympian was also inducted to the Hall of Fame as one of the best fighters in the world in the 80s. And the Filipino sports legend tells Sports Desk his award is dedicated to the Filipinos he represents.
It's really an honor to be recognized for your contributions to the propagation and the promotion of the martial art of Taekwondo around the world and in the Philippines. I'm very happy and overwhelmed Korea noticed our contributions to them and propagating their martial arts all over the world and also in our country.
Meantime, Barangay Ginebra head coach Tim Cone is already looking forward to the new season of the PBA. The league's winningest coach shares his mindset in leading the Jin Kings in the upcoming Philippine Cup.
The winning never gets old. It never gets tired. You never get tired of winning. You can get tired of the losing in a real hurry. And for us, it's just the day-to-day. You know, you just focus on the day-to-day. Do the day-to-day stuff, and that'll go. And you know, I'm motivated day-to-day to come out and meet with these guys, and that never gets boring to me.
We have more of the week's top sports stories on Sports Desk Weekend. I'm Paulo Del Rosario, sitting in for Miko Halili. Back to you.
Here's one for the books. All three Miss Universe queens on one stage for a good cause. Our Trisha Tarada gives us a look.
It's literally a beautiful night at the Miss Universe charity fashion show as beauty queens take over the runway. They're wearing works by world-renowned Filipino designers. Spotted on the runway are Miss Universe 2017 Dame Nell Peters, together with Miss Universe 2015 Pia Wurtzbach and 2016 winner Iris Medina. Contestants from this year's pageant are also donning world-class pieces. Filipino beauty queens and former Miss Universe runners have also walked down the ramp.
We're very proud to be a Filipino kasi alam mo, like the other girls from different countries, dumating sila para tumulong sa project na to. We're very, very excited about it. You could see how the whole universe help one another.
And just when everybody thought the show's over after the three queens showed up, the real stars of the night came out. These little girls are the beneficiaries of the Hope for Change Foundation. They received gifts from the three Miss Universe winners and even posed with them on the stage.
What's giving me the goosebumps is it's a historic moment for not just all the beauty queens to be together, but for the Miss 2015, 2016, 2017 to be all together, having the same battle cry of inspiring and giving hope.
Proceeds from the event will go to the charity program of Hope for Change to send less fortunate students to school from elementary to college. Trisha Tarada, CNN Philippines.
That's what's happening in
the Autonomous region in Muslim Mindanao launches a 6-year development blueprint to boost growth in the region. A town in Pangasinan aims to beat the world record for the biggest rice cake mosaic. And police undergo spiritual reformation by reading the Bible as the PNP rejoins the war on drugs. Good day, I'm William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. Health Secretary Francisco Duque III on Thursday called on former President Benigno Aquino III to clarify the mass dengue vaccination program that was implemented during his term. Duque said it would be better if Aquino would help shed light on what transpired prior to the Department of Health's launch of the program back in April 2016. He cited in particular Aquino's meeting with officials of vaccine manufacturer Sanofi Pasteur back in December 2015 before the school-based vaccination program was rolled out in the Philippines. Duque said he believes that Sanofi was not being totally transparent when it explained the potential ill effects of the dengue vaccine. In its recent media conference, Sanofi officials downplayed the supposed definition of severe manifestations of dengue. Meanwhile, Duque said that they are not yet ruling out the possibility that a recipient of the dengue vaccine in Bataan had died in October 2016 due to ill effects of Dengvaxia. He said they will validate the cause of the child's death as well as the dengue shots given to her. Terrorism will continue to exist beyond the autonomous region in Muslim Mindanao until the community gets involved in the fight against it. Attorney Liza Alamia, ARMM Executive Secretary, announced this during the ARMM-RDP Partners Forum in Ortigas on December 7. Alamia said that terrorism will not stop once the new Bangsamoro juridical entity replaces ARMM. She said that for as long as the community does not get involved in the fight against terrorism, the problem would linger beyond several generations. Alamia is, however, optimistic that it would be stopped once the community becomes active participant in the fight against terrorism. She cited the Community Vigilance Initiative in Basilan, which forced the late Isnilon Hapilon to leave the island and transfer to Lanao. Hapilon, along with the Maute family, staged the 5-month Marawi siege that eventually led to their deaths. Justice Secretary Vitaliano Aguirre II ordered the filing of a formal petition before the Regional Trial Court to legally declare the Communist Party of the Philippines and the New People's Army as terrorists. Aguirre said he will direct the OIC Prosecutor General of the National Prosecution Service to form a team to draft and file a petition. Aguirre announced this after President Duterte signed the proclamation formally designating the CPP-NPA as a terrorist organization. Under the law, affiliate revolutionary groups of the CPP-NPA would now also be considered terrorist groups, and anyone proving to be financing them would be held liable. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque said the court must classify the CPP-NPA as a terrorist group under the Human Security Act for the group to be considered as such under domestic laws and under relevant UN Security Council resolutions. The Senate Committee on Foreign Relations approved the Framework Agreement on Partnership and Cooperation, or PCA, between the European Union and the Philippines. Committee Chair Senator Lauren Legarda said she is ready to sponsor the pact with EU along with 2 other agreements with Germany and Sweden before the Senate goes on a break next week. The idea of PCA was first broached in 2004 when the EU proposed to upgrade its relations with ASEAN member states. Legarda said the Philippines must push forward for its ratification as chairman of ASEAN for 2017. Among the benefits of PCA are customs and trade facilitation, cooperation in combating illegal drugs, cooperation in combating terrorism and transnational crimes, migration, and maritime labor. Legarda said the PCA will also allow better cooperation on political, economic, and development issues. EU Ambassador to Manila, Franz Jessen, meanwhile said the committee approval is a symbolic step towards the strengthening of Philippine-EU relationships. The autonomous region in Muslim Mindanao launched a 6-year development blueprint to boost economic growth and other sectors. Officials are aligning the region's goals with those of the Duterte administration. Here's our report.
The Autonomous Region on Muslim Mindanao launched its development blueprint that aims to boost economic growth in the region over the next 6 years. ARMM's Regional Development Plan, or RDP, targets to increase the region's gross regional domestic and reduce poverty incidence by 2022. Engineer Baintan Ampatuan, Executive Director of the NEDA Regional Planning and Development Office, said local government units have committed projects worth 4 billion pesos that are aligned with the RDP and support the socio-economic agenda of the Duterte administration. Ampatuan said investments continue to pour in despite the problem in peace and security due to the effort of the national government. Aggregate investments into the region have reached 17 billion pesos from 2012 to 2017. ARMM Executive Director Attorney Liza Masuhod Alamia said the RDP is expanding economic opportunities in the agriculture, forestry, and fisheries as niche sectors of the region. Other targets of the development blueprint include human capital development, access of ARMM communities to basic services, open and inclusive governance, and just and lasting peace, among others. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Rom Dulfo.
The Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas is using recycled plastic utensils and plastic bottles for its main outdoor Christmas tree to decorate the main office in Manila this year. BSP Governor Nestor Espinilla Jr. said using recycled materials has been the agency's way of helping the environment. Aside from plastic utensils, other recycled materials used for this year's decorations are used iron bars, scrap bars, and rope lights, he said. The recycled Christmas tree was presented during the lighting ceremony Thursday night. Architect Marie Martinez, BSP Facilities Management and Engineering Department Acting Deputy Director, said the central bank has been using recycled materials for its Christmas decors for about 4 years now. She said collecting and cleaning the materials as well as conceptualization starts as early as January. Martinez said using recycled materials is among the advocacies of the BSP to help the environment and make the decorations cost-effective. Still to come, local government units are urged to invest in climate-smart agriculture. A town in Pangasinan aims to beat the world record for the biggest rice cake mosaic. These and more when the PNA Newsroom continues. The provincial government of South Cotabato has collected nearly 17 million pesos in mining and quarry taxes in 10 months this year. Siegfried Fabriano, a provincial environment management office head, said total collection from January to October increased by around 1.25 million pesos. Their 10-month collection for mining, sand, and gravel tax reached 16.9 million pesos, 15.75 million last year. They posted their highest tax collection for the year in October, worth 2.1 million pesos. Flaviano said, with more revenues expected to come in until the end of the year, they are now sure of exceeding last year's collection. Out of the total tax collections for the period, he said the provincial government share has increased to 6.66 million pesos. Flaviano said the local government is just around 1.7 million pesos short of its total collection target of 18.7 million. A think tank urged local government units to invest in the development of a climate-smart agriculture that fits the needs of the community. A new policy note from the Philippine Institute for Development Studies, or PIDS, analyzed chronic food poverty and how it is affected by weather variability. It is found that food poverty is higher for households that experience rainfall deviation than for similar households that do not. The PIDS said community-based development of agricultural and livelihood practices harnesses can improve climate change adaptation. The study said the Climate Change Commission can enhance their technical assistance by providing LGUs an annual technical workshop on crafting proposals with strong climate change adaptation initiatives. It further called on the government to explore adaptive social protection initiatives that support pro-poor climate change adaptation and disaster risk reduction, such as Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino program. The Department of the Interior and Local Government in Negros Oriental has yet to receive a copy of the order to dismiss and disqualify Governor Roel Digamo from public office. Digamo was dismissed for the alleged misuse of the 10 million intelligence fund from the province despite not being part of the approved 2013 budget. Provincial DILG officer Dennis Quiñones said they cannot act without the order issued by the Office of the Ombudsman. Quiñones, however, said the Ombudsman decision is not yet final and subject to appeal. The Ombudsman ordered the dismissal of Digamo after he was found guilty of grave misconduct for the alleged misuse of the province's 2013 budget. Digamo is already serving a 90-day preventive suspension for another case involving alleged misuse of the province's calamity fund. Meanwhile, Oscar Valdivieso Matalam, Cotabato Vice Mayor, was suspended by the Ombudsman for failing to disclose the true amount of his properties in a statement of assets, liabilities, and net worth. The 30-day suspension of Valdivieso started on Monday, December 4. DILG Cotabato Provincial Director Ali Abdullah said Valdivieso's case stemmed from his miscalculation in the amount of the properties he declared in his SAL-N. The Ombudsman had deemed a case of simple negligence. The municipal government of Calasiao, Pangasinan is celebrating the annual Puto Festival with a shot at the world record of the biggest rice cake mosaic. Here's our report.
Tourists flock to Calasiao, Pangasinan for the Puto Festival today, December 8, as the municipal government installed the rice cake mosaic more than 200 square meters. Melanio De Vera, Executive Committee Chairman of this year's Puto Festival, called on all townsfolk to help the municipality of Calasiao put up the new world's largest rice cake mosaic record in the Guinness World Records. The existing biggest rice cake record of 12 feet in diameter is currently being held by Mapugo, South Korea, which it garnered during the 12th World Rice Food Festival on October 7, 2007. More than 100 traditional puto makers were mobilized this year to prepare the rice cake mosaic. Representatives of the London-based Guinness World Records were invited to witness the record-breaking feat. Calasiao, a first-class town of Pangasinan, has adopted puto as its one town, one product. Dubbed as the white gold of Calasiao, the small round rice cakes have made the town famous all over the world. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Ben Tishorna.
The Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines announced the death of Iligan City Bishop Elenito Galido on Tuesday at age 64. Galido was rushed to the Mercy Hospital last week and has been in a coma at the intensive care unit until his death. Galido was undergoing medication after he was diagnosed with cirrhosis of the liver a few years ago. He was also diabetic. Pope Benedict XVI appointed him as Bishop of Iligan in March 2006, making him the fourth prelate to lead the diocese. He was born on April 18, 1954 in Managok, Malaybalay City, Bukidnon. After finishing his theology study at the St. Francis Xavier Regional Major Seminary in Davao City, he was ordained a priest on April 25, 1979. His episcopal ordination was on September 8, 2006. He was serving as chairman of the Commission on Culture of the Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines. Galido was also among those in the forefront of the church's efforts to help the thousands of families displaced by the war in Marawi City. Up next, 2 Paralympian powerlifters joined the World Para-Powerlifting Championships in Mexico. Police undergo spiritual reformation by reading the Bible as the PNP rejoins the war on drugs. These and more when the PNA Newsroom returns.
Dito ngayon tayo sa Old Capitol. Dito sa Sultan Kudarat, which is a town of Maguindanao. For the launching of the Bangsamoro Assembly na magbibigay ng suporta para sa Bangsamoro Basic Law. At ang darating nating panauhin dito ay walang iba kundi ang ating Pangulo, President Duterte. Yung bagong version ngayon ay yun ang babalangkasin sa Kongreso. Maaring magkaroon ng objection pero ito ay malaking hakbang para umusad talaga itong usaping pangkapayapaan dito sa Autonomous Region of Muslim Mindanao. Dito may papakita ngayon ng mga tao ng ARMM na sila ay sumusuporta sa isang batas na magbibigay ng katuparan sa mga kasunduan sa usaping kapayapaan. Parang nung nakaraan, nung magkaroon ng final peace agreement ang MNLF at saka ang gobyerno, nagkaroon din ng batas, yun yung Organic Act for the Autonomous Region for Muslim Mindanao. Kaya nagkaroon ng ARMM at naging governor si Miss Wari doon.
Ang akin, it must be inclusive. Lahat. Walang maiwan dito sa peace talk na ito. MIMF, MNLF, lahat na lumat, kailangan kasali.
So, peace agreement, pero may law that will implement the agreement. Yung Organic Act noon ng ARMM, nagkaroon ng plebisito. Ito ring BBL na to, pag naipasa ng Kongreso, babalik ulit dito para magkaroon ng plebisito. Magandang senyales na nakikita natin na umaabot na sa kulang-kulang na 700,000 ang sumusubaybay ngayon itong activity na to, itong okasyon na to. Para pagdating ng referendum para sa BBL, pagpasado na sa Congress, ay mapapadali. Maraming boboto.
But I will only work with one thing in mind. There must be one nation for all and one republic for all. The Republic of the Philippines for all of us, Moro and Christian.
Malaga ho dito ay naging successful yung pagtitipon ng mga Bangsamoro people dito, MILF, MNLF, yung mga sultan, para mas malaki po ang tsansa posibilidad na maisakatuparan yung Bangsamoro Basic Law at may tatag na yung Bangsamoro Autonomous Region.
Paralympians Adeline Dumapong Ancheta and Agustin Kitan will compete this Saturday in the 2017 World Para-Powerlifting Championships in Mexico. Ancheta will compete in the women's over 86 kilogram category, while Kitan will see action in the men's up to 65 kilogram category. Both events will be held at the Gymnasium Juan de la Barrera at the Benito Juarez Sports Complex. The World Para-Powerlifting Championships is one of the qualifying tournaments for the 2020 Tokyo Paralympics. Ancheta and Kitan are among 4 Filipinos sanctioned by the International Paralympic Committee. Akel Guion finished 8th in the women's up to 65-kilogram category, while Romeo Tayawa placed 13th in the men's up to 40-kilogram category. The athletes, together with Coach Ramon De Buque and Philippine Paralympic Committee Executive Director Dennis Esta, arrived in Mexico on November 29. Ancheta is the first Filipino to win a medal in the Paralympic Games, where she bagged the bronze medal in Sydney, Australia. Kitan, on the other hand, won the bronze in the 2017 Kuala Lumpur SEA Games. F2 Logistics pulled off a victory over newcomer Iriga City in the quarterfinal round of the Chooks to Go Philippine Superliga Grand Prix at the Phil Oil Flying V Center. Imports Kennedy Bryan and Maria Jose Perez scored 14 and 12 points respectively for F2 Logistics. Serbian import Tamara Mezic top scored for Iriga City with 15 points, while Japanese Sama Miyagawa chipped in 10 points. F2 Logistics' Ramil De Jesus stressed the need to win every match as they move towards the semi-finals. They will each face the winner between Signal and Coco Life in the sudden death semi-finals scheduled on Saturday at the Mall of Asia Arena. The organizers of the Miss Universe pageant are open to holding the competition again in the Philippines. Miss Universe organization President Paula Sugart said they entertained the idea following the successful hosting back in January. Tourism Secretary Wanda Tulfo-Teo admitted she wanted to achieve at least 2 Miss Universe hostings under the Duterte administration. Sugart and Tulfo-Teo on Thursday dined together with Miss Universe 2017 Demi Nell Peters and Miss Universe 2016 Iris Mitener at the Dusitani Hotel in Makati. Tulfo-Teo encouraged the beauty queens to come back to the Philippines and participate in the Bring Home a Friend program. The DOT's campaign encourages Filipinos and expatriates to invite their foreign friends to visit the country and win exciting raffle prizes. The Miss Universe delegation toured around Metro Manila with stops at the Rizal Monument in Luneta Park and Fort Santiago in Intramuros. The title holders will also visit Batanes, Bohol, and Camiguin. The Philippine National Police has included Bible studies in the training routine of policemen. The PNP stressed the need to revisit their moral values as they prepare to return to the war on drugs. Here is our report.
Members of the Philippine National Police are now made to read the Bible as part of their spiritual reformation as they return to the government's war on drugs. PNP Training Service Director Superintendent Elpidio Gabriel Jr. said integrating Bible studies would lift their moral aptitude and gain a more humane outlook in the performance of their duties and functions. The PNP is now focusing on the COP's spiritual reformation in conducting its internal cleansing program they call Focused Reformation, Reorientation, and Moral Enhancement for Police Officers, or FORM Police. Gabriel noted that our policemen must also have a broader perspective of their duties, including fear of God. National Capital Region Police Office Director Oscar Albayalde said that the PNP leadership has made it a point to continue and intensify the FORM police training. Albayalde said he issued a directive to all district directors to strictly implement the vetting process of personnel to be assigned to the Drug Enforcement Unit. The PNP shall also continue other refresher courses on human rights laws and police operational procedures. This is to ensure that police officers are trained, qualified, and disciplined to handle their assignment. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Bench Bondo.
Let's now check out the weather forecast for Metro Manila and the rest of the country. Let's take another look at today's headlines. Health Secretary Francisco Duque says President Noynoy Aquino should clarify his involvement in the dengue vaccine fiasco. The autonomous region in Muslim Mindanao launches a 6-year development blueprint to boost growth in the region. A town in Pangasinan aims to beat the world record for the biggest rice cake mosaic. And police undergo spiritual reformation by reading the Bible as the PNP rejoins the war on drugs. The holidays are coming soon. It's 17 days before Christmas. For more stories, please log on to www.pna.gov.ph or visit the PNA page on Facebook and Twitter. And that's your daily dose of the hottest news and the latest information that you need to know from the PNA Newsroom. I'm William Theo. Good day.